Greetings and salutations to everybody out there in viewer land. Welcome to the Friday edition, the Freedback Friday edition of The Rundown. My name is Mike B. Waworski. I will be your co host today, but I do not do this program by myself.
No, you do not, Michael. My name is Craig DeLuz, and I'm coming at you from the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras, in California. It's a pleasure to be with you here on this Freedback Friday.
Yeah, it is. It is Freedback Friday. Comes up on us real sudden, like every week. This week, we're going to try and get it done right. I know we had a lot of technical difficulties last week while we were traveling, so this week we're going to knock it out of the park. We're going to throw some touchdowns. We're going to score some goals. We're going to any other sports analogy you want to put in here. It's got the perfect dive. I'm going to, I'm out. I'm out.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
That's all I got. Hand the baton off while I run fast. I don't know.
Well, this is the day where we get to act like, well, I don't want to say like we act like liberals because we're giving stuff away, but we're giving stuff away. But the thing is that in this particular case, you got to earn it, right? You have to have the best comments on either the rundown on our Facebook page or on our YouTube channel. So here's the deal. If you're watching us on 2A News, if you're watching us on Arms Room Radio, if you're watching us on the California Republican Assembly, it's great to watch there. It's great to comment there. Glad you're commenting there. But you won't be entered to win unless you're actually at the Rundown. So that's our YouTube channel, therundown.us, or at our Facebook page. So make sure you're there during today's show.
You know what? It is a lot like being a liberal, Craig, because we're giving free things away, but we expect you to vote for us when we do that.
Exactly. Okay. Well, hey, you know what? It works for. It seems to work for them.
Yep. We're gonna buy that vote.
We are buying your viewership, most definitely.
That's it. Exactly right. And if you happen to be listening in a different country and you want to come into this country and vote for us, we'll give you free stuff.
Free stuff.
Free stuff kicks butt. If it's free, it's for me.
Yes, sir. By the way, stuff that's given to us by the government is not free because eventually we pay it back through our taxes. So I'm not down for that free stuff.
What?
I'm not down for them giving away free stuff.
What if the government has a sponsor like Guerrilla Manufacturing or Grid Defense?
Well, then that would be just fine because then the sponsor is paying for the free stuff.
There you go. So maybe the government has their own sponsor. It's called the Department of the Treasury.
Yeah, that's us. that's you and me. That's who the government sponsors are, willingly or not.
Well, but we don't print the money. They print the money and they give it to you. It's just, here you go. Have some money.
Mikey. That's Mikey. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
That's not how any of this works. That's it. I'm taking you off my wall.
Hey, dude, it looks like we got a lot of folks on. We got both Kevin Sona and Patrick Collins have both tuned in. Oh, and Bill Bradley is tuned in. Brian Bradley. I'm sorry. Bill Bradley, the old NBA, the old senator in NBA. Sorry about that, Brian.
That's it. He's the one on the NBA logo.
Yes, he. That would be Jerry West.
Let me do this while we're sitting here. Making sure we got connectivity. I'm bringing this up so I can review some comments as well, because otherwise I don't get to see the comments. So here we go. We're kind of run down. There we go. Volume down. Turn it sideways.
Mikey over here trying to be technical. He's not even trying to be sneaky either. He's like, okay, we gonna make these web nets work now.
I got it.
Is that how you guys speak in Florida?
It's better than you speak in California. Hey, man, can we get some free stuff, man?
Oh, no. Let me clarify. Dude! Like, I'm going to get some free stuff, dude. Oh.
Come on, man. Cut it out. I just want to poop on the sidewalk next to a syringe. Come on, man.
Yeah, those are all the people all the homeless people who immigrate from other places in the country because we give away a bunch of free stuff here in California.
Yeah, you know what? They immigrate from other parts of California. Don't blame them on us. Right? those are your homegrowns. Those are your people.
Right.
That's what you get. All right. Well, I guess we should start moving into some topics. You know, we got timelines here. We got people. We got places to go. People to see. So let's make this happen today. Uh, Craig, I'd say top of the news cycle again is the blundering fool in charge of our military, who has done some incredibly stupid things. Now, since the last time you and I talked yesterday, it's confirmed 13 Marines have been killed via some bombs outside of Kabul International Airport there. So. I'm trying to think of what's the most stupid thing I heard today. It was that it's ISIS K, and who I'm not sure. I think might be related to the singer dancer Danny K, if that's correct. But ISIS K is now outside the gate, and they are the enemy of us, but they don't work with the
Yeah.
Taliban. The Taliban is, I guess the
They,
president's under the impression that ISIS and
mhm.
Taliban are so far different that they don't talk to each other.
They are actually understand that they are ISIS K because they consume Special K for breakfast.
There you go. That makes even better sense. There you go. So
Well, I mean, let's see. Well, okay, so first of all, it would be naive and it would really be kind of oversimplifying what's going on in the Middle East to believe that everybody in the Middle East is on the same side. So to believe that there's a group out there that doesn't get along with the Taliban is not so hard to believe. That's not what it is. The big issue behind all of this, at least for me, is the fact that everybody who knew or understood everything about anything that was going on there on the ground said that how we were doing this was stupid, that we shouldn't be doing what we were doing, how we're doing it. And the president, in some cases, some of his advisors were saying that to him, and yet and still he did this anyway. And now we see what was the predictable results, which was the loss of American servicemen's lives.
listen, I've dealt with many different sects of terrorists. That's sex, SECTS, of terrorism. And I'll tell you what, Craig. Yes, you are correct that you said the Hezbollah may be different than the Palestinians, might be different than the Taliban, than the ISIS. But I'll tell you what, they've all taken a jihad against Jews and Americans. So if
Oh
you
yeah.
stand the ISIS K next to the Taliban, next to an American, guess who's getting picked last on that team? Okay, all right, all right. This is like saying it's all right, but that's a group of Canadians, and they don't talk to the other group of Canadians. It's horrible the way that they think that this is going down. The other incredibly stupid thing I heard was because we've negotiated with the Taliban there, who are evidently holding the perimeter outside the airport. We gave them a list, Craig, of Americans and then green card holders and then Afghans who we wanted to see come through the gate. So we could that were supporting the war on terror and they could come through. Let me make sure you understood that, Craig. We gave the Taliban the list of people that the Taliban are looking for to kill. So we
Yeah,
gave
well,
them the
that's
names.
you just took the word out of my mouth. I was literally about to say the other term for that is we gave them a kill list.
Exactly right. Yeah. Yes, but that's evidently that's all right by them. That's okay. This administration is failing miserably, and we have former military leaders. We have people on the Hill that are already calling for the impeachment of this guy. Maybe this accelerates the timeline where they pull him out under the 25th Amendment because he's nutso,
Yeah.
because he's senile. We'll see. We'll find out. It's not going to bode well for him. He got up there with his hollow threats. Listen, we'll find you and we'll figure out who you are, but we're still getting out of here on time and we're not changing what we're doing.
Well, but here's what's crazy.
Okay.
How are we going to find anybody when the assets we need to be able to do that, they've all either gotten out of the country or they're hiding. They're someplace hiding in a basement because we've abandoned them. What
Greg,
use? What good are they going to be? How are we going to find these people?
Here's how we find them. The Taliban is going to give us a list with their names on it of the people that it's because we gave them a list, so now they're going to give us a list back.
Because that's how it works, right?
It's a swap for swap kill list is how it's going to work. Yeah.
Right.
Let's see. Did you see? And I'm going to pull the bottom one up from and mix it into this one. When the president had the news conference about this afterwards, after the bombing, and he was talking to everything. Did you get to see this news conference, Greg?
Oh, yes, I most definitely got to see it. It was all right. Now, I've been doing media for quite a while, and one of the things you learn about a press conference is, or any speech or press conference is, the strongest part has to be the beginning and the end, right? You got to start strong, you got to finish strong. And oh my God, in the very beginning, he just sounded like a beleaguered, tired, just overworked, confused old man. Now, that's probably because that's exactly what he is. But then on top of it, when he got to the point where he was going to answer questions, you know how normally what happens is, you put together directions up there for the person when you're the PR, the communications person, you put the list up there of what people are what they're gonna do, and sometimes because maybe someone hasn't been called on in a while, or what question they're gonna ask. In this case, you have a direction on who to tell the person to speak to call on. Biden literally said, read the stage direction. I was instructed, first of all, you're the president of the United States. Who the hell instructs you, other than your wife, to do anything, right? I was instructed to call on, and then said the name of the reporter. I just, if there was ever a sign that dude is not there, this is it.
But haven't we known this since the debates? Haven't we seen that this guy's run by committee, that this guy's, put away and allowed to rest until they need him, and they give him a shot of atropine and they bring him on stage, and he's lucid for a couple of minutes at a time, and focuses. That's why the military orders, what's going on in Afghanistan is horrible, because he has no idea what today's date is, what yesterday's situation was, and what tomorrow is going to bring. So when he starts to spout off military orders, it has no basis in time and fact. He's going on something that happened 10 years ago or 50 years ago or happened yesterday. He's got no ability to determine what's real around him.
Okay, so fiber optic, he had a good point. He says maybe the White House staff just did not give Dopamine Joe enough time to recover from his Thorazine drip. And by the way, Brian, you need to work on your spelling of Taliban. Of course, maybe you did that on purpose. You wanted to call them the Taliban instead of the Taliban. But I just found that I found your comment to be more than a little bit hysterical. But yeah, the difference is, though, Mike, is that in a campaign, you can hide him in a bunker for weeks at a time. As president of the United States, it's a 24/7 job, and it's all intense all the time. And dude is just
not if you're not there. He's got his cabinet running. He's got his chief of staff running. He's got his.
But they're not running it clearly because they're screwing up.
Well, the reason it's getting I believe that if we let the committee, the chief of staff, and the rest of his secretaries and everything else run this, they would run it better than the president has. The problem is they are probably making an educated liberal decision. You and I wouldn't agree with their decision, but their decision has some sort of cohesiveness to it. And then the president comes along and throws, "I need tapioca" into it, and we get people killed in outside the gate. So that's the problem. You got 5 sane people saying, "Here's what we need to do," and one psycho who comes in and says, "Where's my ice cream? Where's my corn
You mean
pop?"
Wait, by psycho, are you referring to the president of the United States?
Yeah, well, you know what? His brain paths are currently moving in psycho different ways.
So sad.
They're
sad.
doing
And it is scary. Honestly, I would be hysterically laughing if it weren't for the fact that, this is going to have implications on us, on our allies. People are going to lose their lives because, let me clarify. People have lost their lives because of his incompetence or incontinence, and many, many more will unless something is done.
Yeah, this just in from Hillary, by the way. They said 13 Marines were killed. She said, "What difference does it make?" She said, "What difference?"
What difference does it make? By the way, Kevin is bailing on us. He says he's got to work.
Oh, that's probably the Mexican food. He just got back from California, I think, too. So let's take a look. Let's talk about your state mate there, Craig, your fellow California citizen. The two of them. This little story here going on around by Vice President Harris and your Governor Mussolini there. Now, I believe that the governor was he's on campaigning out there, Craig. If I recall, you got yourself a little special election coming up, a little recall election, where it's the lights looking dim, the light at the end of the tunnel is getting smaller and smaller here on Newsom, but that's all right. We were going to have Kamala come to the rescue. Dun dun
Oh yeah.
dun! As she moves, she crawls across the floor on her back. She's coming in, and then she fails to show for the event.
You know what's funny about this is first of all, the reason why she's saying she's not coming is because, well, everything that's going on in Afghanistan and yada, yada, yada. And we all know that, she's the last person in the room, even though she wasn't in the room when most of these decisions were being made. And she talks about the sacrifice that he's making. Let's just be clear. This is a debacle, and her showing up and campaigning for a governor who's about to be recalled doesn't look good. And by the way, it's not really going to help him, because keep in mind, when she was running for president, polls showed that less than 7% of Californians had her as their first choice for president of the United States. So she's not even popular here in California. In fact, if she had run for like governor or something like that, she probably would have lost to another Democrat. Because quite frankly, people don't like her and even fewer respect her. So the fact that she's not going to be campaigning for Newsom might actually help Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. That's one way to look at it. So maybe that's why he's probably not, screaming at the top of his lungs that she canceled on him. Although, even if he was screaming at the top of his lungs, she wouldn't hear him because nobody knows where she is. She's just, she's wandering around. You know what? I picture her walking around the White House, literally going, "Is this my office? I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be." Now Joe's doing it because he's senile. He's walking in the closets and stuff. But Kamala's doing it because nobody's given her anything to do yet. She's literally just still trying to figure out where her office is. So
yeah.
Let's move along, Craig. I want to talk to you about some Second Amendment issues that once again we're seeing some local and state governments get all righteous and uppity, and oh boy, because we have some pro-gun issues that have come up, we have to immediately jump in the opposite direction and make it look like it's an absolute nightmare. Talking to you about in the state of Missouri, we have they passed the Second Amendment Sanctuary Act, Greg. If you recall this, this says that, and let me see here. Let me get to the quote on it. It says that they will not take part in any federal enforcement that violates the Second Amendment or the right to bear arms. That's what it says. It does not say we are going to ignore all other laws. This was put on paper so the federal government know if they start to pass unconstitutional laws, the state will not assist. Okay, that was the intent of this law, and everybody knows the intent of this law. But you got a couple of Democrat local politicians, a couple of Democrat police chiefs that have said, "Oh, well, we're just going to have to pull our officers out of all federal task force then, because there might be a gun crime involved." Well, guess what? If it's a gun crime, we're enforcing a gun crime. All right. This is to avoid the passage of new legislation of unconstitutional laws. This isn't for you sitting around on your butt ass clowns, your liberal scum that have decided we're going to protest the new law by not enforcing the current law. That's what you're doing. You're making your citizens, you're making your city, your county, your state more dangerous because you've decided to play politics with the lives of your citizens. That's all that's happening here.
Exactly, Mike. You know, what's frustrating is, once again, if you go back and you read the legislation, it specifically deals with unconstitutional gun laws that are passed at the federal level, and where they're seeking to go in. And one of the biggest ones they're talking about is red flag laws. If a national red flag law were to be put in place, no, they're not going to go participate in the confiscation of someone's firearms. But once again, in this case, we're talking about this was a drug raid. This had to do specifically with drugs, and quite frankly, if you were going, by the way, the purpose was not to confiscate firearms. That was not the purpose of this particular raid. So for them to say such a thing is disingenuous at best, idiotic in the middle, and then just down flat outright dishonest and lying at the worst. But once again, and this happens in many cases when you're dealing with the policymakers at the local level. When it comes to policymakers in some of these more liberal cities, the police chiefs that they hire, they are not pro-gun. They're not interested in pro-gun. They're more interested in being woke than they are in going after and dealing with crime. So that's what's going on here, folks. So don't let anyone tell you, not CNN, who's putting out this story. Don't let them tell you that this law gets in the way of people being able to enforce laws. In fact, what's interesting in the CNN story, they bring up, well, the murder rate's gone up, and they completely ignore the fact that the liberals in these areas in Missouri, they're letting criminals out of jail.
One has nothing to do with the other, Craig. If you let murderers out of jail, it doesn't mean there's more murder. Come on. Stop it. Yeah, folks, this particular case that Craig's talking about was a drug raid. Some federal drug officers decide they're going to do a drug raid. They call upon the locals to help. Listen, there's a great relationship between feds and state. With the feds involved in the state, they bring more assets to it. The locals get to worry a little bit less about jurisdictional boundaries because they're now working under the federal umbrella. It's a much quicker way to put a criminal in jail instead of having to go over some of the little hurdles that they have. Now, what was said here was when the feds briefed it, they said, just be aware that we were going to drug raid, and be careful because you never know when there's going to be a gun. And that's when they got well, if there's a gun, our new law says we can't work with you and we can't help you. So we're out. We're going to leave you. We're going to leave you alone with these criminals with drugs and maybe guns. And we're going to let these guns and criminals and drugs just go back to our streets because, of our righteous liberal stand that we're going to make here, making everybody else in threat of danger. Crazy.
I don't know that I could have explained it any better, Mike.
All right, well, let's just move on to the next one then. I'll take the gold star for that one and move on. Let's see. The SCOTUS blocks Biden's latest eviction ban. Now, we had this is the second time, I believe, Craig, and for those who are not familiar with the eviction ban, for when the COVID came around, they put a temporary, I think it was 90 days, and then it got extended for eviction ban for tenants in apartments. I think this also applied to mortgages, and they said they just had to work with you and get around it. Well, Craig, that I guess that might have been all right when we were doing hey, we're just going to do a 2-week lockdown to flatten the curve, right? We want to keep the ventilators and the ICU beds free. So, when that got to a couple of weeks, a couple of months, then they got this little eviction ban in place. Well, now that the president, when he took office, he signed the eviction ban extension. Mind you, Craig, he's also touting the biggest job gains ever, right? So why do we still need the eviction ban if we've got the biggest job gains ever? I mean, more people are working than ever. Why do we need an eviction ban? Anyway, the eviction ban goes before Congress. The Congress said the president needs to re-sign this executive order. The president re-signs this executive order, and the Supreme Court says you don't have the authority to do that. Right? The emergency's over. That was a short-term deal. If you want this to continue, have Congress pass a law. You do not have the right to take an emergency order and make it the law forever. Is basically what Congress just told him.
Well, and Mike, I'll take this conversation a step further. This was a president who already had a ruling from the Supreme Court. He already knew that he couldn't do this, and he decided to put this thing in place anyway. Now, we already had in item 1, we had people talking about the fact that they wanted to impeach him. Here is literally a gentleman who on national TV took an oath of office to uphold the Constitution of the United States and knowingly wrote an executive order that violated that very Constitution. He was already told it was a violation of the separation of powers. And yet he turned around and he did it anyway. And his argument was basically he was trying to buy people some time. Now, as far as I'm concerned, no, when you say you're going to violate the Constitution, when you say the Constitution doesn't matter, you need to be held accountable. If there was a reason to impeach him, this would be it as well. Because here's the deal, folks. If we let him get away with it here, What else is he going to do? What other laws? We already see in state after state, and I know being in California, where politicians are told by their attorney, or Democrats, liberals in particular, are told by their attorney, yeah, no, that's like unlikely to pass constitutional muster, and yet they do it anyway. I mean, that's what pisses me off so much about this. And plus, by the way, it ignores the rights of the property owners. I mean, people, the landlords who, in many cases, dude, this was like they're going to lose this property. Their finances are going to be in ruins because they are not able to pay. Because, by the way, there's no mortgage moratorium. They didn't go after the big banks and say you can't collect your mortgages, right? No, those are their friends. Those are the people who are kicking money down to them. The only people who got a buy or a pass were the renters.
Yeah, absolutely, Craig. And like you said, it's follow the dollar, right? Follow the dollar. That's what you get here, and where the kickbacks come from. So, this guy, Craig, again, passing things that he knows he shouldn't be passing. Supreme Court's already said once, don't do it. He does it again. Mm-hmm. This just brings us back to the conversation we have all the time about qualified immunity versus absolute immunity. Police officers are bound by qualified immunity, which means that they're immune from being sued as long as they don't violate your constitutional rights or break a law. So once cops do that, they lose qualified immunity. So they lose their immunity. But no other politician is subject to that. We have your local officials, county, state, and even up to your feds that have just said, and just like Biden just said, just like many other of these politicians we talked about today, they've said, well, I know it's wrong, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it anyway because it's the right thing to do. And
Biden's probably being told to, because as Brian Bradley points out, he probably doesn't know what's going on. But real quick, I have to give a shout out. Carrie Maines has finally commented and tuned in on the rundown. And now Carrie's been a longtime friend of the family, and her fiance Aaron, I'm going to be attending his bachelor party this evening. So, definitely not going to be a Saturday show. But I wanted to make sure to give Carrie a shout out, Carrie and Aaron a shout out and a congratulations. Gonna be having a good time this evening with them. Well, not with her, but
now is that Aaron? Is that Aaron Aaron? Is that how it's spelled?
Aaron Anderson.
Okay, Aaron. What up, Aaron? And I just want everybody else that cannot see Carrie's comment. Carrie had a wonderful comment. I want everybody to know what her comment was. Here it is. She put a little hand up. She waved.
That was her comment. Oh, there's only one A in Aaron? Oh, darn. So we don't get to call him Aaron.
Right, we just call him Aaron.
Aaron.
What up, Aaron?
As opposed to multiple Rons, he's Aaron.
Aaron. There you go. You got Aaron and Aaron. He comes second in the phone book instead of first. All right, let's take a look at our parting shot, Craig, and I will take a moment and talk to the folks here about our sponsors. This is Feedback Friday. Remember our good friends over at Grid Defense and Gorilla Machining. This week we have an 80% lower. That's a lower receiver that could be turned into America's rifle at some point, or America's pistol, and it looks something like this because it has no serial number on it. It's a ghost. It's a ghost receiver at this point, so you can't see it. Now, the one you see, or the one that you'll be getting, will actually, you'll actually be able to see it. This ghost one right here, though, we're just going to set it back down, so you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Kind of like,
all right,
kind of like this one.
Let's move to the parting shot. Yep, there you go, just like that.
Kind of like that one.
Yep.
All right, anyway,
perfect.
All right, so Mike, I had a hard time deciding, so we're going to have two of them because both of them actually apply to our conversation today. Because we talked a little bit about the insurrection, or the thing that happened on January 6th. We talked about that earlier. But then we had an actual insurrection. So I just thought that, for those out there who don't really understand, I thought that they should see the difference between a real insurrection and somewhat some on the left would call an insurrection. If you notice, there is a significant difference. One is, armed. The other is, not. One is talking with those who are meant to protect the facility. The other is, killing people who are meant to protect the facility. Just saying.
I would like to point out the good trigger discipline on the armed insurrection people there. Wonder
Well,
where they learned those skills from, huh?
At one time, I was going to use the meme, but I think everyone's seen it. It's like, how do you tell me that you have been trained by coalition forces without telling me you've been trained by coalition forces?
Yeah. Yep. Look at that big old pointy trigger just sticking out on the side of that rifle right there.
Right.
Yep.
So you can tell that the folks up top were not trained by coalition forces because, well, they're armed with a bullhorn and horns.
Yeah, they're trained by Antifa.
There you go. Pretty much. Which, by the way, then leads me to our second parting shot. I am not going to be lectured by gun control by an administration that armed the Taliban.
Yep. That's exactly right. Craig, the one that I saw, let me tell you this one. It has directly to do with that. It said, if you feel useless, remember it took 20 years, trillions of dollars, and 4 U.S. presidents to replace the Taliban with the Taliban.
But it is a kinder, gentler, and more well-armed Taliban.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, now they got better trigger discipline and they can read the kill lists we give them. So that's a benefit for all of us, right?
Oh, that is bad. All right, Carrie, what is the K-Swiss? K-Wiz? K-Swiss? What? I'm not getting the K-Swiss comment. I'm trying to give you some credit here, Carrie. Come on, give me something to work with.
I actually wear K-Swiss shoes, the big white K-Swiss shoes. I even got told they look like dad shoes, so I got bigger ones. Yeah.
Oh no, dude! Back in the day, the white K-Swiss, white on white K-Swiss was that was the gangsta shoe. You wore the white on white K-Swiss with no laces.
Yep. Oh no, I had to have laces, otherwise I'd walk right out of them. Yeah. That might work if you got like a little size 9 foot, but when you're trucking around with a 14, the tongue on that thing's like that long. You just pick your foot up, it comes off.
So I just never understood how, and this was the thing, man. Mind you, I was not a gangsta, I was not a hood, but I have always been fascinated that over time, like why was the dress code for being gangsta always? It always seemed to make it harder if you ever had to run from the police. Saggy pants.
Oh, maybe
that no like shoelaces.
That sounds like some Jim Crow design kind of stuff right there.
I think there may have been some psychological warfare instilled on American gangs to make them easier to capture. Maybe that makes them easy to catch. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But I never particularly got it.
I remember chasing a kid one time who had the lights in the back of his shoes, and I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, I can see you. It's dark out. I can see you.
Okay. Carrie now has explained AA Rons or K-Swiss. So now I get it.
Do you want me to leave you two alone for a few minutes? You want me to leave you two alone? Are you guys all right? Or?
No, I'm just trying. Look, I'm just trying to give my friend some love.
No,
okay?
I got you.
What's
the K-Swiss comment?
Can I do that? Comment? Exactly. We have a female viewer. Okay.
Picture it didn't happen.
All right, Mike. I am going to let you, since you have access to all of the comments. I am going to let you decide.
No. Hold on. Wait. Stand by. What's the K-Swiss comment? You gotta fill the rest of the list.
Oh no! It's from the whole Keenan and Peele routine relating to AA Ron. You've seen that, right?
I don't remember the K-Swiss part in there.
It's in there. I'd have to dig up the video to find it and explain it.
Gotcha. All right. You want me to pick, huh? Let's see here.
I would like for you to pick. Now, are you following Fiber Optic, who is our only commenter over on YouTube?
No, I only have up the Facebook.
Okay. Well,
so you pick.
See, why you put all the pressure on me, man?
Well, then I'll pick. I won.
You won. I don't see any comments from you on there.
You won. We won. I think I've got to pick Brian just because he spelled Taliban, Taliban. I love that.
Taliban.
Yep. If you're if you're letting me pick, that's where I'm going. Tallybon.
I am with you,
Taliban.
and that is partially because we have to be very, very careful because fiber optic has won multiple times, and he might be guilty of constructive possession if we give him too many firearms parts.
True, very true.
But he is a good man, and he is very bright, insightful, and witty, as is Brian, Kevin, Patrick, all of y'all. Carrie, we enjoy all of y'all commenting, all of y'all tuning in. But here's the deal. We need you guys to share the program. We need you to tell your friends about the rundown. Tell them about it. Get them to tune in. Once again, this will be available even after we're live, so you can share it with them, encourage them to watch and tune in. We have a good time, and as I'll just says, the more the merrier.
The more. Oh, wait a second now. That sounds like a really good comment. Maybe we should give to him instead.
It ain't no fun if the homies can't have none.
Yeah, that's. I say hi to Nina. Say hi to Carrie. Say hi to Brian. We're all good. Say hi to AA Ron without one A.
AA Ron. No, it's just Aaron. Aaron. AA Ron without the A.
D nice. D
D nice. Right. Brienne.
Yeah.
Brienne instead of Brian.
Ain't nobody leaving early without a good excuse. I gotta go pick up my daughter.
All right, folks. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends to do the same. This is the Rundown signing out.
Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you later.